Story 1. Tonight I saw the negative effects of porn firsthand with my girlfriend. I 26 meters started dating this girl 25F recently. She spent her entire life in a religious bubble and was bullied by her family into believing it up until 2 years ago when she got the courage to break them off. I'm her first ever boyfriend and she said she was a virgin, and tonight we decided to be intimate. I brought her to my bedroom and we started to kiss, and then she really quickly took off her clothes and then pulled my pants down and started to give me the most aggressive and exaggerated blowjob I've ever received. Seriously, she was going at 100 miles per hour, trying to choke herself on it, and manhandling my dick with her hand and mouth. It got to a point where I softly pushed her head back and pulled her back up, but then she got on top of me and forced my dick inside her. I could see on her face she very clearly wasn't enjoying it, so I told her we could stop, but she said it was okay. Then she started flailing around on top of me, which I could see she was struggling with and also wasn't enjoying. I stopped her and got her back on her feet and said we were gonna try again, and I took the lead. I noticed she kept trying to switch positions every 2 minutes, and I told her she didn't need to do that. From that point on, she was just a total deer in headlights and kept looking at me for guidance on what to do. I walked her through the whole process and also got some insight on how she liked to be handled, and in the end I think we both enjoyed it. We cuddled afterwards, but I could see from her body language and mannerisms she was very embarrassed. And note for that story, we both turned in for the night and she went home, and I got a text from her not too long ago telling me she made it home okay and saying I'm sorry for my behavior in your bedroom tonight. I know I acted weird, so I'm sorry if I offended you or anything. I'm really embarrassed and hope this doesn't change anything between us. Can we talk about this at some point? Honestly, I don't think this is talked about. People are always talking about the damaging effects porn has on young men, but not young women. She kept going even though she was clearly in pain, presumably because she thought it was expected of her. Even though she's a little late to the real sex isn't like porn realization, I'm happy she at least got to learn that in a safe environment. In the end, treat your partner with respect and be as patient as you can. Best way to go about it. TLDR took my girlfriend's virginity tonight and she acted like she was in a porn scene because she had no other knowledge of sex other than what porn taught her. Independent Fig 1581 says, yep, me and my hubs both religious upbringing. Both learned about sex from porn. Thought sex was gonna be so good and we'd both come at the same time and it'd be painless and erotic. He has a form of ed and I have vaginitis. We both had a terrible time and it hurt. Took 4th or 5th time to even start to get good. Took a lot of experimenting. He expected it to be so good I scratch up his back and we'd be screaming. Even now we haven't done that. We're both silent sexers and I only make noise when I come. Sometimes I don't even lol. Endlessly Unfinished says, thank goodness she was with a safe guy. Lady Paramedic says, I have a close friend who said her first time having sex, the guy randomly tried to switch to her ass without asking her, then her second time the guy randomly spanked her really hard without asking her, so now she instinctively gets really nervous whenever a guy's hands are near her rear end. Story 2, going to a rich people's university was a big mistake. Yeah, I'm a senior in college at a very expensive university. I got in on scholarship, so the problem isn't how much money it cost or the debt. The problem is that a majority of the kids here are rich as fuck and I cannot make friends with them. 60 of my university is in a frat or sorority, which all cost $5,000 a year to get in. Which isn't much compared to the way higher tuition, but since it's not covered by financial aid it's basically all rich kids in them. And I cannot relate to anyone. All they talk about is their expensive vacations and their sororities and their formals and shopping. I have never made a friend with a Greek life student, whom again make up the majority of my college. The only friends I've made have been other poor kids who in reality are all upper middle class but poor compared to the rest of the college who aren't in Greek life. I felt so disconnected to my school this whole time and I really feel I should have gone to a school whose exclusivity is based on merit rather than cost. I didn't have a ton of merit coming out of high school, but I had enough to get a scholarship to an expensive college. Which I should have focused on a better school where I wouldn't be so alienated. B5431 says, poor kid from a rich school here. Focus on interests. There are good eggs there. You just have to find ways to connect. Join clubs, sign up to support first-year experience programs, and other career-focused programs. Force yourself to step out of your comfort zone. Incoma Trader 24 says, those rich kids' connections are worth way more than your education. Figure out how to make friends with them because that networking is really what you're no paying for. Average Guy 16 says, as another person said, those rich kids and their weird little cliques are what I later learned was the purpose of those schools. I worked throughout school and never really was involved since I was focused on my grades 3.9 and always felt out of place there since I was older as well. Long story short, those kids that partied and didn't do shit in classes all got better jobs by leveraging their network. Regrets a bitch, but don't get caught up in it. Adapt and try to game that system, man. Story 3, NSFW My boyfriend sleep touches me in his sleep. Hi. I'm 27F and just wanted to share a funny but strange occurrence that happened from time to time. My boyfriend 30M sometimes sleep touches me in his sleep. He's an avid snorer, and sometimes when he sleep touch me, he will still snore with his hands roaming around me. He also sleep hump me whenever my back is turned around, and I always find it so funny, as if it's some kind of a muscle memory, lol. I usually just swat his hands away or pull a pillow between us so I can go back to sleep peacefully. Funny thing is, every time I told him about it, he freaks out because he couldn't remember any of that. One time when I was out of state on a business trip, his buddy stayed over for a night to catch up. They both fell asleep on the couch, and you guessed it, he sleep humped his buddy, and that poor dude jolted awake and freaked out. He had to explain everything to him, and in the end, his buddy just laughed it off, and they often make jokes about it up to this day. I just think it's funny how muscle memory works, and he always urges me to slap him awake if he does that. I don't want to wake him up because he goes to work early mornings and I usually sleep in until 9 a.m. We still make jokes about it up to this day, lol. Edit update. Damn everyone, I really didn't expect this many replies. I'm so glad I found answers from everyone who replied, and I know the term for it now, sexomnia. Just talked to my boyfriend about it and we agreed to schedule a sleep study soon. We're a bit relieved that it's not just us that experience this, and honestly, I've been laughing non-stop reading all of the replies because they're hilarious. Thanks everyone for the support and insights. Just got the chance to check my phone and realized it's going to take me hours to reply to each comments, but I upvoted every single comment that I read. Thanks again, and I will try to reply to every soon. Note I'm actually not bothered by it and find it hilarious and sweet at the same time, because aside from the sexual things, he would sometimes sleep talk in many different versions of I love you. Oxoenla Casina says, when I first got married to my husband I would be so flattered and would have sex with him. He would randomly grab me and whisper crazy weird sex things he wanted to do, and I found it super exciting. Eventually he got annoyed with me when he was having a hard time waking up for work the next day, and he told me to stop having sex with him while he's sleeping because he's struggling to stay up for work. I was like, what? You're initiating it. And he was like, no, I keep waking up and you're having sex with me, so I go with it, but I'm tired, only do it on the weekends. He genuinely had no idea he was trying to have sex with me in his sleep, couldn't remember a thing. Now I know to ignore it and just cuddle him back to sleep. Lol. Perpetual_potato108 says, sexomnia is genuinely a thing. I'm glad it doesn't cause you anxiety. Radiant_March_200 says, my BF does that too. When his hands find my breast or ass he always has to pat it or squeeze it. Lol. At first I was confused thinking he want to initiate, but even when he is blackout drunk and close to death while he sleeps, his hand has their own minds. Now I just think it's funny and kinda cute. Thanks for watching, I love you. Follow Reddit Echoes for more.